Welcome to the Will and Dave Show, where we talk about hard things, whether it's comfortable or not. We think those conversations are necessary and important. We think that having different opinions is crucial to a healthy discourse. So saddle up and enjoy the fireside chat.
Hey, William.
Good evening.
We have our first visitor in before the stream officially started.
Makes me feel special.
We are so honored to have somebody throwing a comment in there before the show starts. Thank you, Bogues. I'm assuming I'm saying that right. I don't think it's bogus. I don't think he'd appreciate that very much because he's pretty sincere about himself.
Is a good way to look at it, or a good way to pronounce it. Safe. It's a safe way.
And we are going to get on your comment, so don't run away too fast. We're just going to do the stuff that we do at the beginning of every show first and say, hey, Will, how was your week?
It was a pretty good week, honestly. Busy, but good.
I'm rather disappointed in my friends. There are four of them in one room, and they're watching the show, and they're not on four different accounts, so we would have now 7 viewers, not 2.
Oh, we appreciate them watching regardless.
So, Tim, thanks a lot, buddy.
Number 1 fan, Tim.
Yeah. He could be the number 1, 2, 3, 4 fan, Tim, but nope, he's just the number 1 fan, Tim, today. Oh, man. While we're at it, if you guys would like to support the show, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with somebody. We'd appreciate it. Even you, Bogues, even though we might not agree with you all the time. And, hey, I agree with you more than Will does. So, I mean, hey, that has to help with something. Share this show.
Doesn't change the fact that we'd love the show to get out to more people and
I like
reach
Boggs.
More eyes and ears.
I like Boggs.
Boggs, there we go.
Thanks for chiming into the show. It always makes it fun.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, and thanks to Tim because he's home having a drink or two, and he said he might be lively tonight. He's been a little bit upset this week because lots is going on up in your neck of the woods, Will, that I am sure we will be touching on this evening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have feet on the ground. Hey, I would rumble if they would give me $100 million like they offered Joe Rogan. I'd go to Rumble.
Be nice.
Yeah. But for those of you who want to support the show, you know, we do this all out of the goodness of my wife's heart because she pays for everything.
She hasn't paid for anything of mine yet.
She pays for the software so we can do this. But except, hey, if you want to support the show, you can buy us a coffee.com/Will and Dave show for the price of one small cup of coffee. Speaking of coffee, I'm on the phone with your sister, my daughter, this afternoon, and she went to McDonald's and she bought a coffee, and it was $4.50 in Canada.
Where was that?
For a mocha. In McDonald's in Fort St. John.
Oh, for a mocha?
For a mocha. $4.50.
They price mochas like they price hot chocolates. Because my eyebrows go up because I bought coffee for us as well this afternoon when I went over there, and 2 coffees came out to like $4.90 for a pair of larges.
Are they drip coffees?
The mocha. No, it's just the same old coffee. About $2.50 for a large. That's a little bit higher than it used to be, but not crazy.
You guys kill me.
It's because they put hot chocolate in it, which is ridiculous because they use powdered hot chocolate. They are and Tim Hortons. It's literally nothing but water. Sometimes, if you're lucky, a little bit of milk and hot chocolate.
Nesquik.
I know. Yeah, I know there's a gas station or like a card lock near where I work, and they advertise that they have hot chocolate with real milk, and it's almost 25% milk.
Hey, Will, hold on a moment. I'm going to throw you on the screen. I have a technical difficulty. So you can talk for a minute.
Oh, boy. So for those of you who aren't aware, this week we're going to have a continuation of a continuation of last week's topic, which is talking about the Freedom Convoy and the ongoing demonstrations in Ottawa. I call them demonstrations because I don't want to attribute them as being good or bad just based off their title. I think it's a lot more nuanced than that. And we wish that a lot of other media outlets would think the same way. And that's a large part of what we want to talk about today is how the media is portraying the ongoing demonstrations in Ottawa.
What, the media isn't all fair and balanced like it is here on Fox News?
They're not fair and balanced.
We are opinionated. We are not completely objective. We try to be more objective than our contemporaries, but bias still finds its way into our takes.
Well, since we might as well get into it, since I see Tim is getting ready to beat on Trudeau, on our fearless leader.
Now, don't worry, we're going to join in that party eventually.
There's a clip which I think I'll save for next week of one of my favorites in the media now is Bill Maher, and he's just throwing one down on your prime minister. And I mean, there's a lot to pick on this guy. And Tim, you're right. There is no inflation. Inflation does not exist, even though our cost of living is up over 20%.
Yeah, rent costs right now are bonkers. I'm very lucky to be where I'm at, because it's more so in the States, but still here. The cost, like the percentage of the average household's income that goes towards rent, is skyrocketing.
William, I love you.
Yeah.
Except I'm going to give you the boot because you're freezing. Would you log off and come back on?
Yep, we'll do.
Okay, I'll see you in a minute. So while he's gone, I'm going to do my rant because, I have the power and I'm the guy right now, and I'm going to do my rant for the week. The world's going to hell, and we know this. There is nothing new under the sun, and a number of people have asked me, hey, you used to live up in Canada, right? And I'm like, yeah, I lived up in Canada for most of my life. And they said, weren't you like out in the middle of nowhere on a ranch? And I'm like, yeah, I was. Weren't you with a whole bunch of other folks who believed like you? And I'm like, yeah. We should do this more often. We should move away from the cities and stuff and get out in nature. And let me tell you, when you're in nature and you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're with a whole bunch of other folks, the same hassles and egos and all that happen just the same. It doesn't make any difference, and the world will not end. Hasn't ended yet. And I don't think it will end over a pandemic or over a whole bunch of truckers. Now, it isn't easy, and I'm not saying it's easy, except I'm saying the world won't end, and we got to live with it and make the best of it. And so my rant for the week is just, let's get along. It's not that hard to get along with the folks around you. It really isn't. Even if they're liberal or conservative and you are the other side, you can get along with them. Well, except for Tim, because he's been drinking. He might be a little bit harder to get along with. But hey, Will, you're back.
Howdy. I'm back.
Oh, and Boggs has shared our live stream via the tweet storm. Sweet. Well, thank you. Like-minded individuals. I don't have any like-minded individuals like me, Tim. You know that. There's nobody like me. I'm off in a can of worms on my own.
He is unique like a snowflake, just like everyone else.
I think my son just called me a snowflake.
No, I mean,
I think you just called me a snowflake.
Snowflakes are unique. There are no two that are alike, but all snowflakes are snowflakes. So you're a snowflake, unique, just like everyone else.
Okay, let's go through some of the comments while we can here. Okay, Will, do you have anything to say about this one? I'm sure you do. William?
I mean, yeah.
I'm sure you want to.
I have opinions on it.
Again, it's the picture to me. How do you piss up a flagpole? That takes some.
Yeah, the Mackenzie Hawkins move.
The Mackenzie Hawkins move. And for those of you who don't know who Mackenzie Hawkins is, you need to read more. Hey, we have our fan back.
We do. Thanks for joining us.
Inflation is not a problem as long as everybody gets a raise that matches inflation.
What a time to be alive.
This is one of your fearless leaders' most amazing.
That's an old
statements.
Quote, but yes.
Yes, it's true.
Ooh. Nothing balanced itself. Just ask my scale.
Even True Swans wants to rumble.
It's almost like Canadians were a little bit riled up these days.
Are you yelling at the Liberals, Will?
I mean, I don't yell at many people in general, but I am upset with a lot of Liberals, yes, specifically politicians, but some private citizens as well.
We don't hear this very much.
Thanks for the compliment.
Yeah, we'll take that one.
I'm going to hold on to that compliment for the rest of my life.
Okay, so Boggs, I have been in Colorado. Amazing state. Beautiful state. I was at a ranch.
Colorado with you?
What's that?
Didn't we drive through Colorado?
I drove there with Allison and Alex, I think. Not you.
I thought we drove through when we were going to North Dakota.
No.
Okay.
We drove through. We drove of Western Montana.
Right.
Yeah.
Love Montana.
I love a number of the states.
Hmm.
And yes, Tim, you truly are a fringe minority. This used to be our motto earlier on in the show. Just don't be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually really
Don't be
easy.
stupid.
And Boggs,
I can respect your hardline libertarian stance, even though I don't agree with it. I think I can empathize with it.
so as we mentioned early on, we have feet on the ground in Ottawa.
I mean, we didn't put them there. They're not our feet.
We have feet as in we have family who are on the ground.
Mm-hmm. We know people in places.
Ottawa. Yeah, we know people in places.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
High places or low places?
It doesn't matter.
So we're going to begin with their video, and we'll come back after it plays through, as it really is a it's an interesting angle on what is happening. If I can find it.
We do also want to add that
Yes.
we're not taking credit for these videos. We are going to credit them in the doobly-doo below this video. We'll have links to their Instagram. So if any of you would like to follow them and keep tabs on their adventure while they're in Ottawa, please do. They're posting about
And
it.
the
pretty
doobly-o,
prolifically.
is that what you said?
The doobly-doo.
The doobly-doo. Okay.
It'll be in the description beneath the video.
Okay.
It may not be there until after the show is uploaded.
Right.
Once the live is done, but it will be there, and feel free to share it. We highly recommend it. The people who took the videos are good folk.
Right. So this is our niece, who is on the ground in Ottawa.
And I was just reading a news headline that I wanted to share with you guys really quick. So 53 minutes ago, it was posted that so-called freedom protesters took down the fencing barricade around the war memorial. And yes, they did. And I'm going to share a video of what happened moments after. What happened was a group of veterans arrived at that for a photo, and they saw the fence and that the steps had not been cleaned. And they took it down and they cleared the snow themselves. And you're going to see in my video a veteran saying that it's a fucking disgrace that it wasn't done already. So here you go. Check it out.
Very much appreciated. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. It's a fucking disgrace.
So, Will, do you got anything to say?
I mean, when I first saw the video,
Right.
I had seen the headline that she mentioned, that she referenced.
Man, they're ripping that fence down left, right. They're just
Oh yeah,
violent
quote
protesters.
CTV's Josh hear me, Dave?
Yeah, they can't hear either one of us. I had a.
How much?
They didn't hear any of that.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. I'll go back. I'll reiterate.
There we go. We're
So-
back. Sorry, guys.
That last clip, the one with the fences being put down, we've been scrolling here through this article to show you the headline of protesters tear down fencing around the National War Memorial. This was put on their website by Josh Pringle, the CTV News Ottawa digital multi-skilled journalist. And my reaction to the article and to this debacle is to call bullshit. That's my swear word. I'm using my swear word for the episode on that because that is an absolute crock, a pile of horse pucky. Nowhere in that article does it talk about anyone tearing down a fence. No aggression, no nothing. Some folks were helping the vets take down the fence and clean the steps around the memorial. And it's shameful. It's absolutely disgraceful how the media is twisting this. And this does to a certain extent apply to both sides, but at this point it is very, very heavily, my criticism is very heavily leveled at liberal news media or
What?
progressive news media.
What?
Yes.
I just want to ask, guys, are we back on? Are you able to hear us again? And let us know in the comments. It seems to be good on our end, but let me know.
Did you guys catch me swearing?
I got you swearing.
Well, yes, but I just need to know they heard me swearing. If an F-bomb is dropped in the forest and nobody hears it, did it really happen? I'm boggled. Like I wasn't super excited to talk about this because we're kind of beating this horse to death. Or not we specifically, but media in general. It's an ongoing thing. And I'm sure that people who are there are pretty tired of it too. But reading these headlines and seeing this absolute tomfoolery is forcing me to find words that are not curse words to describe it, but still scratch the itch of me wanting to express my disdain for it.
So let me ask you, Will, as we are on, I think on this, we are on opposite sides of the fence. There's a play on words that you didn't even get. We're on opposite
I got
sides
it.
on
I'm
the
shaking my
fence.
head at you.
Why? Because this has been the argument for weeks now, because all the media is biased.
It's biased, but like it's one thing for the media to latch on to all the extremists involved. Like if there's a dude flying a Nazi flag, there's like I would put money that the person flying a Nazi flag at one of these rallies is specifically flying a Nazi flag so that he'll make it on the news. Because it's 2022. If you show up to any large gathering with any hate symbol or a Confederate flag, Nazi flag, anything like that, you're going to be on the news.
So
I'm not saying that I wasn't an extremist, but it could have been anything. And it's shaky at best to be attributing that awfulness to the entire group. Like that was already rough.
Yeah, but this has been going on for a year and a half, and it took your niece heading all the way out to Ottawa and to prove it for you to believe it.
No.
And I guess that's my point, is that what did it take? I asked you last week, what would it take you realize that it is not all what you see in the media? And that's where we get a lot of our information from.
This is, to a certain degree, yes. All media, especially MSM, twists and sensationalizes news because it sells. It's the byproduct of a 24-hour news cycle is that everything has to be sensationalized, whether it's sensational or not. But the stuff that we're seeing here is not just sensational. It's an outright, I can't call it a lie, but it walks that line so finely.
But there are those of us who have been saying this for weeks and months and years.
Both sides of the media have done it over
There's
the
a
years.
guy with orange hair down here who said it for 4 years and nobody believed him.
Well, but his side also plays just as dirty, if not more dirty, in certain regards. But in particular in Canada, I I had higher hopes for our media to a certain extent. I mean, even during the orangutans' reign in the United States, our Canadian media was at least somewhat cordial about it. Obviously, a bias showed, but
Oh,
it
you
was usually
think?
not quite this extreme. And this is coming out. This isn't like Rebel News. That's the part that bugs me. This is CTV. This is global news, which obviously are biased, but this is extreme. It's a crock.
So I've been
It's
watching.
embarrassing.
I've been watching the media over the course of this, and honestly, I've tuned them out. I've turned them off as the ones I've
Yeah.
been watching are the live streams
Mhm.
who are on the ground. And
Mhm.
if you're going to have a protest, let's have one in Canada. Like, you guys are
Yes.
freaking awesome.
Oh
You
yeah, they got
sweep
toys
the
out for the
street-
kids.
Yeah, they have the air toys. And now your CPS in Ontario is going after the kids and saying that the kids are in danger and we can't be having the kids on the street. Have you heard this story yet? Again, it's in your media in Canada
Yep.
that
Oh, I've heard
CPS
it.
is investigating if the parents are caring for their kids in the protest. Seriously?
I mean,
I don't think anybody is caring for their kids more than the parents
I
in the
don't-
protest.
I don't want to derail this conversation. I want to
Oh,
put
let's go.
the point out. I don't love kids at any political protest. I don't think kids have a place there per se, because they do, especially in this day and age of it. But that's a blanket me opinion.
They're watching
parents who-
Looney Tunes in the
Just like-
sleeper in the truck.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is in this particular case, that is a best case scenario for kids at a protest. Is watching tunes in a truck, people providing them with toys and enclosed areas to play. They're sectioned off. They're being watched by adults in a nice way, not in a creepy way. Like this is the best case scenario for kids at a protest, and they're trying to twist it into something evil. There's bad stuff that has happened in regards to this protest. Like there are things that get my dander up that the protesters have done, like dressing up schmutzing up the Terry Fox statue with a Canadian flag cape and a ball cap and stuff. Piss off. He's an icon. Don't touch it.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm just saying there are
There-
things that the protesters have done that I don't like.
There are multiple occasions over history of Canadians who have had a flag on the Terry Fox Memorial.
Yes.
And
I don't
nobody
care.
has said a
I don't-
word about it.
I don't like any of them.
But it's never been a disgrace. It's never been vilified until
Every time anyone dresses up a memorial, this is me personally. This isn't me talking for people in my party or anything like that. This is just me personally. Anyone who feels the need to dress up any kind of memorial statue that isn't an event directly tied to that memorial, I have absolutely no time for it. I think of them as venerated. They are hallowed ground, especially when we're talking about someone like Terry Fox. That is an individual who did something great and an exemplary Canadian. And I don't care what it is. Unless it is Terry Fox's family schmutzing up the statue, piss off.
but at least are you able to admit the fact it is not a desecration of the
Yeah, I'd say calling it a
It
desecration
is not a
is
crime.
a
It's
strong
not-
word.
it's
It's
not
not a
an-
crime, as far as I
No,
know.
it isn't anything that's evil that we need to be arresting people for. There's a lot of comments here which we most likely will want to gut. This is so true. I've been amazed at the peacefulness of the protesters.
The congeniality.
Only in Canada.
Yeah.
And I might add, only the farmers and the truckers who work for a living, as I don't think the majority of the people there are protesters by, what's the word I want? By choice.
They feel like they're there by necessity.
Yes.
And yeah, that's part of any protest. Any protest anywhere for anything is going to have bad actors. There's going to be fringe cases. That is a fact of life at any large scale public demonstration or celebration. I have
Except
never,
in Portland and Seattle. Portland and Seattle,
No.
they give you 10 city blocks and say, here, you can have it.
well, that was their attempt at curbing the violence, and it worked out super duper well for them.
So I want to say something about Boggs. I'm sort of getting a read on you, Boggs. Where's my crystal ball? And get my crystal ball. I believe at the end of your driveway is a sign that says absolutely no trespassing.
No
I'm just going to.
solicitors. Solicitors will be shot.
Solicitors will be shot. That's right. I just want to make a. I'm going to make a guess on that one. I've worked with CPS in the past. Not a big fan. I'll just say that.
We're not fans of bureaucracy, but it's
Yeah.
better than nothing, even if only marginally.
It'll be interesting to see. I hear rumors that there's going to be a rally at the Super Bowl. I don't think that's going to happen because it's Super Bowl and it's the U.S. and
There's
And
too
the
much
only
money around the
thing-
Super Bowl. They wouldn't let it be marred by that.
well, the only thing with Super Bowl is all the people that are there are beer drinking. They're not going to blockade that.
No,
Um,
there would be more death.
I
than
like this one, Will.
all of us
And
put together.
you should. It's hard to argue with this one.
No, this one, I don't want to speak in defense of Trudeau and his cronies. This isn't me speaking in their defense. This is me speaking in defense of people who are trying to maintain law and order in a situation like that. When you have a situation like this that is, despite the fact that it so far is very peaceful, it's a powder keg and people walking around with jugs of highly flammable liquid, that is a disaster waiting to happen.
Oh, come on. It's diesel fuel.
Dude, how lucky are we with this going on? So we have another article that I want to quickly touch on that is
Which
related
one?
to this now.
Which
The one of the MPs in, I believe, Nova Scotia getting mailed packages with chemical irritants. It blows my mind that this demonstration in Ottawa hasn't had much in the way of violent exchanges. Absolutely get jerry cans of fuel out of the street. Now, do I think they should just be straight up confiscating it? No. We could find better ways to do it. We could escort it to its destination. We can transport it for them. We could find something better
Wait.
to do, I would hope. But
I'm going to scratch my
jerry
head on
cans
this
of
one.
fuel in big crowds is literally and metaphorically speaking
They're,
a potential, like,
they're fueling
It-
up
it-
the trucks. It's
Dude.
diesel fuel with a flash point way higher than
it's
gasoline,
still
and they're fueling
fuel.
up the.
It's still fuel.
Are they going to arrest you when you run out of gas halfway down the road and you're walking along the road with a can of jerry can?
No, but
Why
when you're
not?
dealing with a massive crowd like this where tensions are high, yes, you get things like that out of the way and out of the crowd. Stat.
Are we going to make laws that say, "Ooh, yeah, there's a bunch of
Oh my
people here. We
God.
can't be carrying fuel"?
When it's a politically charged and high tension protest like this, yes, you get things like that out of there.
Well,
I would love to trust everyone with the jerry cans, but all it takes is one dude who shouldn't have the jerry can.
so I
now
don't
it's a
agree with
whole new
Boggs on
problem.
everything, but I agree with him on this one. I trust the people with the jerry cans more than I do the people with the billy sticks on their hips.
And 99 times out of 100, I agree with that. Yes. I'm
But
sure
this
that
time you don't.
the possibility of a bad actor in that situation is too high. Yes.
Okay, I like that one,
I mean, it's funny,
but it's
but
true.
it's not true.
Sure,
It's
it
not
is.
true. No, it's not.
There's no fumes with diesel fuel. You don't have to worry
Dude,
about it blowing up.
It's not the fumes. It's not an accident. It's if one dude is coming in there with a jerry can with a primer in it, all hell breaks loose. Absolutely. If I was a police officer, I would not want to see a jerry can anywhere near there. That is asking for problems, massive problems.
So we've
Absolutely
had-
get the jerry cans out of the crowd. Absolutely. Confiscate them? Like
So they have been
entirely?
there for
No.
how long? For 2 weeks now?
Something like that.
They arrived on a Saturday, I believe, so it's exactly 2 weeks. How many cases of exploding jerry cans have we had?
None. Do you know why? Because there's no freaking jerry cans. They're getting confiscated.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not saying that jerry cans are the only way. Like, if I am the police, I am scared shitless right now because all it would take is one dude with an IED, one dude with a gun to set off a powder keg. That's all it will take. So yes, they're scared. And yes, they're overreacting and taking precautions. Absolutely. And they should. because all hell will break loose if one
Oh
person
boy, we're
decides
gonna have to
screw with that.
disagree on that one because why don't we take away all the sandwiches as well? Because all the sandwiches all could be poisoned. You could be feeding the crowd at one of the food
Obviously, you
trucks.
can't do everything, Dave.
Okay,
But
but
you
we
can
could
do
take
some
away the
things
fuel for
like
the trucks.
jerry cans. Yes.
Hmm.
There has to be a better way. Yeah. There you go. They didn't take anywhere near all of them.
I
Cool.
know.
They took some. And maybe it is. Maybe I'm completely out to lunch, and maybe they have totally different motives for taking them. That's my take on it from the outside.
Okay, so
I can't speak to why they're doing it, but
I'm going to go back to where we started this on the media. And I agree with you on this one, Faith. This is a little bit worse than only biased. As everybody has a bias.
yeah, this is more than bias. This is intentional misinformation,
Yes.
bordering on propaganda.
So this is one I read the other day it was on Rebel News.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I believe it because it was on Rebel News, but I also
I
don't
wouldn't be
have any
surprised.
reason to not believe it.
I wouldn't be super surprised.
If you look at the arrests which have gone on, there's like 18 arrests in the 2 weeks.
Mhm. And to go to a previous comment from Brittany Houston, having seen any of the on-the-ground footage, the freedom-loving Canadians are keeping the peace and reporting any suspicious activity. Yes, I agree, they are. What I'm saying is the likelihood of someone who doesn't want to do good can just waltz in there is incredibly high. And innocent freedom-loving Canadians are the people who would pay the price for that.
I guess
Because if some dude, let's say, just for argument's sake,
Yeah.
let's say that some super progressive Antifa guy decides to come in there with a small bomb
Yes.
in a jerry can, in a duffel bag, in
Yes.
his freaking bicycle basket, who cares, and sets it off. Who's going to take the blame? Who's going to eat dirt? It's going to be the Freedom Rally. It would be the easiest false flag you could possibly imagine. Absolutely, they have to be careful, extra careful. I am terrified of the concept of someone coming in there and just blowing the cap off this whole thing. The people who would pay the price are the Freedom Rally people, not Ottawa, not me as a progressive.
So I love you, Will. I usually understand where you're coming from. I'm having a hard time with this one. I think this logic it goes way too far in the protect humanity at all cost line.
You can't protect them at all costs, but you can certainly do things like removing flammable liquids in containers from crowds. That seems like an absolute no-brainer.
But I guess all we have to do if all it is a flammable liquid, we're going to walk along the road. We're going to open a fuel tank and stick a match in the fuel tank. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, you could do that. But
to remove
making
the jerry
it more
cans
difficult.
and say that this is reasonable to do when they're using it. We know the motives behind using this. It's not for safety.
We don't know.
It's to remove the fuel for the trucks. Well, no, we do, as they have said it. We're going to remove the fuel for the trucks.
Okay.
They have said that in the news and from their press podiums.
And that's fine.
But I don't know how.
If they're removing it just for the sake of removing it to cripple the ability of the trucks to move around, I mean, that seems kind of silly because they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Well, it's not to move. It's so they won't idle and they aren't able to do what they do and keep warm.
Yeah,
because it's 800 below.
I don't love that tactic. But if we're talking jerry cans walking around through a crowd, big red flag to me.
So speaking of the protest, and we're getting a little bit off topic here, but
not asking to ban jerry cans, Tim, just like I don't want people to ban guns. But if I saw dudes walking around a crowd like that with guns, I'd take the freaking guns away from them if I were a law enforcement officer. So
we're going to disagree again here in a minute, although I want to play this clip as I think that it is it's indicative of a lot of what's going on up there.
If you joined the protests because you're tired of COVID, you now need to understand that you are breaking laws. The consequences are becoming more and more severe. You don't want to end up losing your license, end up with a criminal record, which will impact your job, your livelihood, even your ability to travel internationally, including to the US. We've heard your frustration with COVID, with the measures that are there to keep people safe. We've heard you. It's time to go home now.
And I was just reading a news headline that I wanted to...
There's everything with people walking around in public with guns, but to go back to the video, that was about as thinly veiled threat as I think you could get away with on live TV from a government.
Oh, you think?
Now, I don't take his first sentence at face value. The act of protesting isn't illegal, but in the process of protesting, inevitably laws are going to be broken. That's inevitable with any large-scale protest. That's a silly thing for him to level at the protesters. I do want to go back to, where is it?
Which one?
True Swans. Or how about our leaders talk to them like, I don't know, adults? That hits the nail on the head. I don't care if Trudeau and his cabinet have heard people. Start talking with them. Get out of your little, hop off your soapbox, get out of your cave, and come talk to these people. Or send a representative to come talk with, how freaking hard is it to just get an intern to go down there and ferry friggin' notes back and forth? Anything at all.
Here's the thing, Will, and I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to play the devil's advocate for just a moment. If you're the government and you're not going to change your mind and you're going to carry on with your mandates and you're going to do them because we think we're smarter than you and we're just going to do it. Well, why would you have the conversation as you're not going to give in?
Because it looks good. It's metrics.
Well,
it would just look way better on them. It's not just aggravating, it's stupid on a political level. I want to go back to True Swan's comment, I've never felt safer than surrounded by people with guns who know how to be safe with them. I agree 110% with that claim, but I have no way of knowing if a random dude in a crowd carrying a gun is safe or not. So I'd rather he didn't.
You'd rather he didn't, but are you... The question is, are you saying he shouldn't?
In a large-scale crowd like that?
Yeah.
That's getting into a whole other conversation.
It is.
He certainly shouldn't be brandishing it. I mean, let's say, theoretically, that he has a permit for concealed carry, which doesn't really exist in Canada, but for the sake of argument, let's say he has a license to concealed carry. He has to have gone through a certain amount of training and background checks, etc., to carry it. So I'm a lot more okay with that, because he has proven that he has at least some level of competency to handle it. And I and the general crowd don't have to see someone toting a gun.
Well, maybe that's why I don't have a gun, because they don't want to give me the competency piece of paper. Or they know I hang around with Tim too much, and I don't know if I'd shoot him or shoot myself. I'm not sure which way that one would go.
I know too many people with their PAL, which is the Canadian license to own a firearm, who don't know jack shit about handling firearms. That's not a dig at... Yeah, it's not to say that I'm digging at all firearms users. I'm not, because all the ones that I know personally are phenomenal. They treat them with the utmost respect and care, and they treat them like the tools that they are. Exactly. That is perfect. Yes, nobody brandishes a firearm if they're trained. That's perfect. Yes. That's why if I see a guy packing a rifle in a crowd, I am concerned.
I want to go back to this one, because as it sort of comes back to the point of the episode.
It does. And
they're not being heard. That's why all the trucks are in Ottawa.
Yeah, they don't feel heard because nobody's communicating with them. So Trudeau can say that they're heard all he wants.
Right.
It means nothing. It is empty and hollow.
I was going to put the Prime Minister in the countdown, and I thought if we did that, nobody would tune into the rest of the show. So we didn't do it. We played him.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
you're not wrong. No, I'm appalled, and I'm not just. I've been saying that I'm embarrassed I've been saying that I'm embarrassed by my current government. Not that I voted for them, but I'm embarrassed by the government in Canada right now. But embarrassment doesn't cover it anymore. I'm appalled. I'm horrified at the government and the media that is surrounding them right now.
Okay,
I don't like
this
it.
one from Tim.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
You can dignify this one with the response. I want to know where he comes up with the handle.
I am impressed by his creativity. And I mean that without sarcasm. I am genuinely impressed.
It's so much for me, on somebody on the right who for 2 years has been railing about the overreach and the this whole thing. I can't believe it's happening. I can't believe that people are agreeing to this. And now we're getting in the end game, and it's taken you and some on the left this long to say, hey, wait a minute. This isn't right.
Up until now, they haven't done anything that no, because I still don't agree with I still don't fully agree with the purpose behind the cause of these protesters. But I believe in their right to protest 100%.
So I want to get to that, and maybe we can end on this as a discussion topic. I'm looking at the call from all levels of government. It's hurting the economy now. Mm-hmm. We really need to end the blockade. It's hurting our pocketbooks. Mm-hmm. We really need to end it now.
That's the best way to talk to the government, is make it hurt their pocketbooks.
And that, I guess, is sort of my reaction. Well, maybe now you'll talk to us if it's hurting you in the pocketbook. If all it is a bunch of campers on the Ottawa streets, who cares?
Yeah, you have to hit them where it hurts.
Yeah, and now it's hurting. And again, it's not the fault of the truckers. It's the fault of the people who won't have the conversation.
Absolutely.
So for Bergen to stand up as a conservative and say, okay, you've been heard, you need to go home now. Well, no, because now it's starting to hurt. We want you to meet with us and to talk about the mandates. And really, we want you to take the mandates away. And we're not going to go wait till they do. And so is there negotiating there? I bet there is negotiating room in there.
They haven't even made an attempt.
No.
If they let's, in a theoretical, wonderful world, let's say that they have a sit down and they chat and they discuss and we get a timeline for the mandates, maybe that's just a theoretical middle ground. I'm not saying that's the way it should be. I'm just saying theoretical middle ground. We have a sit down between the protesters and the government agrees that, hey, we'll give you guys a hard timeline on these mandates. This is how long they're going to be in effect. And after that, we will write them off. So you only have to deal with it for X amount of time and you can see the end. That would be something. There's at least some level of cohesion there.
So I'm not sure what you are referring to.
I'm just using that as an example.
No, on that comment, I'm not sure where she's saying that I'm not being fair, but yeah, I do think they need to say that. You're right. We're sorry. I do think, and that's what the truckers want. Are they going to get that? No, but maybe they could get a version of, hey, we need to talk about this as a nation and as a country.
Yeah.
I don't know the end game. I don't think any of us do.
I don't know it either, honestly. At this point, it's anyone's guess how this is going to turn out.
Yeah. I watch
it's
for an hour or two every day. I'm watching the live feeds from on the ground in Ottawa and in Windsor and at Coots, and there are more in across the nation, really. And there are rumors it's going to begin in the U.S. We'll see if the Americans actually get off their butts and do it. Americans are comfortable, and I don't know that Americans are going to do anything.
Yeah.
And Americans are loosening up as well. So
I see what True Swans was mentioning, and I actually was going to bring it up as well.
Okay.
when you were asking why it took so long for people on the left like myself to see this, it's
Okay,
because we
gotcha.
haven't seen it like this before. This is new. This is excess. Like we've known that our government is hypocritical and we've known that they have failings. That's a given. But we've never seen anything this blatant or this egregious before. This is new hat to us.
So I guess what I'd ask is, well, I'm going to go back a bit. It's amazed me at the number on the left who are looking around saying, hey, this is wrong. And I say left, I say that really loosely. I don't mean hard left. I mean more of a liberal mindset, and not a liberal as in the party, but more of a liberal in terms of the issues.
Yeah.
Why did it take this long? I'm hoping that you realize. Don't get me going, Tim. I just was reading an article about how Harper was having all the protesters at the G20 meeting beat, and that's where this all started under Harper. I'm hoping that the more rational ones who are on the left will move into the middle, and that the more rational ones on the right will move to the middle.
See, I have the flip side of that coin. I hope that the more rational people who voted liberal are going to move a little bit further left and find a party that actually reflects their values a little bit better. Not saying that the party is good. I'm just saying reflects the values better, not necessarily. But because our liberal party right now is just it's pathetic.
Except, aren't you able to hold a liberal value in terms of moral issues, in terms if it be gay rights, if it be all these sorts of things, and realize that does not mean we have to hold everybody under our thumb?
Yes. I was insinuating that some of
Okay.
us would move further left into the NDP camp. I'm not saying that the NDP is all that is good and right with this world. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I think people are going to jump ship from the red party and go towards an orange party instead, rather than finding a more centrist point of view. Because I, for one, am not upset so much that the Liberal Party is too liberal. I'm upset that they're not liberal enough. They're doing the same scheming, conniving crap as every other political party. And I don't.
Oh, Tim.
I don't like communism either, Tim, because communism doesn't work.
So left really, it does not equal communism. I would say actually that communism is more right.
In a manner of speaking, communism is a great idea that doesn't work because we're people.
Yeah.
And
And yes, I agree. I find I would say I am a sort of a libertarian. It's a hard one for me as
I share a lot of liberty. I'm sorry.
I'm a little bit more of an anarchist because I don't like government and I don't like the role it plays on so many levels. And if you could get away with
Anarcho-capitalist.
Yeah. If there is such a thing, that would be me.
There is, absolutely.
Okay, anarcho-capitalist.
I share some anarcho-capitalist.
Okay.
I share some libertarian ideals, but I can't call myself libertarian. Nor could I call myself liberal.
Why wouldn't you be a libertarian?
Libertarian?
Yeah, why can't you be?
I think that there are certain roles that government has to fill. I think that, and in some of them they need to grow. In some they need to shrink, definitely. But in others, I think there are levels of government that need to expand.
It's when the NDP and the Conservatives have a baby.
That'd be nice. What would we call them?
I don't know.
The Jack Layton Party.
I was a fan of Jack Layton. I thought he was a good man.
He was a good man.
Well, William, it's been an hour. And we're still talking about the truckers.
Yeah, I think we may have to see what comes next week because I feel like this is going to be an ongoing situation. I don't see this being resolved by next weekend.
Yeah, so keep an eye on the channel, guys. We're hoping I can get a hold of our family out there, maybe even have a live stream on the ground over the course of the next week.
If nothing else, we will be talking with them once they're back
Yes.
from their visit.
Yes, as it will be enlightening. So for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, we'd love it if you would like and subscribe and share it with a friend. And for those
Even if you
of
don't agree with us, especially if you don't agree with us.
Yeah, we don't agree
Share
with
it
each
so they can
other.
laugh
It's
at
okay.
us.
It's okay. And share it with somebody that you don't agree with. And say, hey, you
There you
might
go.
like this. Well, William, do you have anything to say to our viewers this evening?
I do. Stay safe and don't die. Have a good night.